Thank you to all of you. We would like, as a gentle reminder, for those of you who are seated toward the front, if anyone has an umbrella, we kindly ask that you would keep them retracted for the cameras and those people who are doing the streaming in the back. Now I'd like to turn our attention to our speakers, each one with a passion for our state and an expertise in their field. A passion project for the First Lady. She and her husband made a promise to the people of this great state of Illinois to renovate the mansion using solely private funds. Illinois' first family did just that and are proud to bring this exciting new development to the people of Illinois and for visitors who will come from around the world. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Governor Bruce Rauner and First Lady Diana Rauner to the podiums.
Thank you. You're so kind. You know who deserves the applause? It's the people of Illinois. This is a great day for the citizens of our beloved state. Today, we reopen the doors to the People's House, the governor's mansion for the state of Illinois. Illinois is the greatest state in the greatest nation on earth. Today, we celebrate all that is wonderful about our state, our history, our heritage, our art, our culture, our education, our furniture, our food, everything that we've done together as a great people. Today, we celebrate. This mansion is the People's House that is now a living celebration. It is a permanent celebration of all that is wonderful in our great state. Diana and I are humbled and honored to live for a short period in this beautiful grounds. It is deeply humbling for us to reside here and to serve you. This mansion reflects all of our state. This mansion now is a proud jewel. It is a shining beacon on the hill that we can all be proud of and celebrate for many decades to come. It's so important that we have access. This is about the people having access. Now, for the first time, this mansion will be open 7 days a week, every day of the year. And let's have a round of applause. We now have 80 docents. We're going to 120 docent volunteers. This is truly a house of education and celebration. I'd like to say a special thank you to Congressman Darren LaHood and Congressman Rodney Davis. They obtained the flag that we are now proudly flying over the mansion from the United States Capitol, where this flag proudly flew in Washington, D.C. Let's thank them and our leaders in Washington for this generosity. And I especially want to thank all the volunteers. We've had incredible volunteers. I want to thank the donors. I want to thank the Governor's Mansion Association. The reason I love Illinois so passionately with all my heart is because the people of this great state are so loving, so generous, so supportive, so giving to each other. God bless our volunteers and our donors and our fundraisers in the Mansion Association. Let's hear it for all of them, please. Thank you. And let me just say one thing in my closing. America is the greatest nation, and it's for one reason, and that is because of the service, the dedication, the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, our veterans. They are our heroes. They protect our freedom and democracy and make America the shining light of democracy and hope and justice for the world. Let's hear it for our veterans, please. God bless our veterans. And with that, I am over to my beloved, way, way better half, my beloved wife, Diana, who is the chair of the Mansions Governors Association and who has led this restoration effort with tremendous love and passionate work. And I'd like her to address you now. First Lady Diana Rauner.
Thank you. Well, it's hard to believe we're here. This has been an extraordinary passion project for so many people. It's been a privilege to fulfill a promise that we made 4 years ago, and to do that in partnership with so many dedicated, talented, committed partners. Our Mansion Association board, some of whom are here today, our extraordinary experts from across the state who are experts in history, landscape architecture, arts and fine arts, who have made this building far more than it ever was before. Our very, very talented architects from Vinci Hamp and our construction partners at R.D. Lawrence, and so many other people who have done so much work and worked so hard to work as quickly as we possibly could to have this mansion ready for the state's 3rd century, for our bicentennial. All that we do here, we do with love and passion for the state of Illinois, for our history and for our future. I would like to take a minute to thank everyone who has done so much work here. I think most of us who have seen the mansion before remember that this once proud building had fallen into a state of disrepair that was a shame and embarrassment for all of us as Illinois citizens. This beautiful building, which is almost as old as our state, one of the most finest governor's mansions in the country, had really become, as we know, a rotting and sad relic. And it was in the spirit of restoring it, not just the physical structure, not just the safety of the building, but very importantly, its beauty, and even more importantly, its meaning, that we took this project on beginning in January of 2015. And I well remember the many conversations that we've had with so many experts about how to realize the potential of this building, most importantly, so that every visitor who came to see it would understand the pride, the history, and the tremendous future of our great state of Illinois. We have exceeded, I think, even our wildest expectations in developing a program here that actually tells a tremendous story for all of us about where we have come from and where we can go. Buildings are living monuments to history. They're also symbols for all of us of what is possible for us as a culture and as a civilization and as a state. One of the things that we are so proud of is that this vision has been realized physically and realistically right in front of our eyes. And it is only by visioning and working together with an eye on what is possible that we can create the future that we want for our state and for our children. And it's in that spirit that we are so very, very proud to be dedicating this building today. We can't wait to show you inside, because you will see things that are very different from what you saw before, not just the crumbling paint and the buckets protecting the roof, but much more importantly, a celebration of the history of Illinois, the great leaders that we have had, the art, fine and decorative art that has been produced here, and the great moments of our state's history. There's so much to see and there's so much to understand about our future. And I'm so grateful to the many people who have helped us unearth and unpeel the layers of history here in this building. We now have a dedicated visitor center and orientation center with important history and an opportunity for children and adults to understand our past and our future. We have a dedicated art space, which will open with a fantastic exhibit of the art of Illinois, fine and decorative arts, the very first exhibit of Illinois art ever in our state, in our country. Very excited about that. This building is, for the very first time, ADA compliant, which means it is accessible to all. And we are aiming for LEED certification so that the building will also steward our resources well in the future. It's been almost 50 years since this building had any kind of attention. And this work would never have happened were it not for the very committed volunteers and donors that have made this building possible, with the restoration done entirely with private dollars. I want to thank again the many donors who contributed to this and the many Illinois citizens who became members of the Illinois Governor's Mansion Association to support this project. I hope in particular that people will continue to become members of the Governor's Mansion Association. This is the people's house. And this belongs to all of us. And thank you in advance for continuing to steward and safeguard it. With that, I would like to introduce a very special volunteer and leader, a young woman who has helped us redesign and renovate the mansion. We were very excited to have the opportunity to have a competition for the new Mansion Association logo. And Crystal Ragasa from Loyola University of Chicago has won that. So Crystal, will you come up and join us? We knew with a renovation as momentous as this, the Illinois Governors Association needed a fresh new logo. And so we had a competition across all of our universities and colleges to submit designs. Crystal's design, which you can see on all of our materials, was the winning. And so congratulations, Crystal. We are very proud of you. Thank you. There have been geniuses at work here for the last 3 years thinking about this project. Geniuses from our partners at Vinci Hamp, who have been the architectural minds behind this work. Geniuses from our partners at R.D. Lawrence, who raced to get this construction done on time and under budget, even when the rains came down hard. Geniuses of art curators and visionaries who understood this work. And geniuses hard at work in our Department of Natural Resources and Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. We are so proud of the work of our state leaders who have participated in this, and most proud that this building is now professionally managed with a professional staff, and very importantly, with an extraordinarily talented new curator who has been a member of the Illinois state government for decades, but is here now in his new role as curator of the mansion. Can I introduce Justin Blanchford? There he is.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Governor and First Lady. It's an honor to serve all of you as the new curator of the Illinois Governor's Mansion. I'd like to thank our amazing team members, our outstanding volunteers, and our partners, especially the Illinois Governor's Mansion Association, who have poured their heart into this project. Join me for just a minute to look back and then look forward. For a moment, imagine being in the place of John Mills Van Osdale. He was the architect who began designing the Illinois Governor's Mansion 165 years ago. He knew he was giving us an important symbol. By looking back to him and others, we can see that in a way, we're all architects, building, maintaining, rehabilitating, and restoring what we collectively decide we deserve. We decide what will be maintained and to what degree. And these choices span from our houses to the places that house our government. And our decisions have consequences. Consequences as severe as our collective sense of character, our commitment to justice, whether or not our houses will be divided, and whether or not our houses will stand the test of time. At the governor's mansion, we listened to people. We heard the calls for access to leadership. We heard the questions about our history. We listened and we looked back to our past to better understand what happened. And then we restored the people's house with private dollars. And what was rejuvenated is more than a mansion. It's a people's house, a house for people who will take action, for people who will be thoughtful, responsible, accountable, and most importantly, respectful. Mrs. Rauner, you have led us back to Van Alsdal's vision for a people's house, a symbol for all of us, reminding us that we the people, are the architects of our destiny. Thank you. It's been a true honor for me to work in state government under many, many leaders at the agency level, and one of the greatest honors is working for the current director of the Department of Natural Resources. I'd like to welcome Director Wayne Rosenthal to come up and join us here today.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Rauner. As many of you know, I had the opportunity to spend 30 years defending this great country, serving this great country with the U.S. Air Force, the Illinois Air National Guard. I served on soil and water conservation districts, served on local school boards. I still serve on Lincoln Land Community College Board. Had the opportunity to serve in the House of Representatives, representing Central Illinois. And as a state representative, we have 108,000 constituents. As the director of the Department of Natural Resources, I look at it as I have the constituency of the whole state. And so it's with great honor that, and what you find out with all those is it's always the people that make the difference, the people that make us this great state what it is. And it's leadership from the governor and Mrs. Rauner that have preserved this mansion for the future. So it's moments like this when the community partners and leadership and industry experts come together to make an impact in our state that bring the pride of life to this state. This renovation project really embodies the resilience of our state. Just 2 years ago, the mansion behind me was almost uninhabitable. Today, it is one of Illinois' most exciting destinations for visitors, and not to mention a home for our current governor and his family for those for years to come. On behalf of the Department of Natural Resources, I would like to extend my deepest thanks to the Illinois Governor's Mansion Association for taking the lead to raise private dollars to renovate the mansion. It truly could not have been accomplished without their hard work. We are excited to embark on our new partnership with the mansion to help professionalize the tour program, collaborate among our staff to ensure that the mansion remains in pristine condition that you're about to enjoy today, and also as the possessor over in the mansion, the State Museum, of a lot of artifacts from the state, this will give us an opportunity to display those for the people of Illinois. So as an avid conservationist, I'm delighted that this beautiful building behind me at our governor's mansion was designed to comply with LEED standards and hopefully will receive the highest certification later this year, a huge change from 2 years ago. Congratulations to all those that have been involved in this project. Your work is truly impressive. I know everyone's excited to go inside this morning, and so I would encourage everyone to enjoy their day at the mansion. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome to the podium the Honorable Mayor of the City of Springfield, Mayor Langfelder.
Thank you and good morning. It gives me great pride to be here this morning, and I heard a lot of great insight, inspiration. It all comes down to passion. And just like Director had pointed out, Rosendahl has pointed out, this was almost inhabitable. So you look to leadership, and Governor Rauner didn't see it beneath him. He actually lived here in those nearly uninhabitable conditions. So we appreciate that. And what your sacrifice, you really had the passion to give back to Springfield, return it to its great capital state by giving us this majestic gift of the governor's mansion. And he needed to go to the fairgrounds, if all you remember, he went to the fairgrounds. And so we really appreciate that you're a humble individual and your actions speak louder than words. But just like with any great leader, you look for a champion on an effort. And he couldn't get anybody better than his wife, Diana, and your great efforts for championing this effort forward. So Springfield cannot thank you enough for your efforts. And what was pointed out many times is the Illinois Governors Association, the many supporters, the many volunteers that made this point possible for us. Thank you on behalf of the city of Springfield, on behalf of Alderman Senor, who's here. Former Alderman Corey Jobe knows the true value of this because he's now the Director of Tourism. So the governor made another wise choice because he hasn't forgotten where he's come from and the importance of Springfield and Illinois' history, especially this being the 200th bicentennial year for the state of Illinois. And this will be a tourist destination. It's another piece that connects the sites with the governor's mansion. And this was the catalyst development for all this, as you see, the Jackson Street corridor. If it wasn't for the mansion renovation, none of this would have transpired. So again, thank you to the private donors that made it possible to move forward. But as you can see, you look to the east with the Bicentennial Plaza that will be opened up later on. That connects Lincoln's home to the governor's mansion, the People's House. And that's what it's all about. We all need to remember Lincoln's quote, and if we all live true to that fashion, we'd have a lot different world that we live in today, and that's government of the people, by the people, for the people. And the governor and his wife had restored this mansion to give back to us the People's House. And what I see is not just the mansion, not just the history of Illinois. I see the People's House being a place of connectivity, how it brings us all together. And our greatest asset in the state of Illinois is our people. And that's what made this project possible. And the one last thing I'd ask you to do as you leave or as you come down to town Springfield, tell all the people, residents in Springfield, and all the visitors, drive down Capitol Avenue, step out, and you see this majestic view, the beacon on the hill. And we cannot disrupt that vista. That vista has to be retained because that's what connects all of us. So once again, thank you, Governor Rauner and Diana, for all you've done to give us this extra opportunity for Springfield and making it a great economic engine for Springfield. Thank you, Governor.